Okay, this is my 2020 Skidoo 900 Ace Turbo. I've been having some issues with my primary clutch where it's not disengaging the whole way. So even when you let off on the throttle, it still wants to drive your track. So let's see if I can do this one-handed. Show you what I'm talking about here. So okay, so this guy down here, it's a primary clutch, secondary clutch. But I think what's happening is this, I think they call this a sheave, goes in and out. And when you're at idle, this thing is supposed to be all the way out. And there's a spring inside there that, I think that spring might be bad. Or maybe there's just one of these rollers or something is hanging this up so it can't come all the way back. And if it doesn't come all the way back, then it wants to grab this belt and it puts pressure on this secondary clutch, and it can be dangerous. Ask me how I know. That's a story for another time. But anyway, because there's tension being put on that belt, it's also affecting my reverse. Right now I'll be able to shift it into reverse because I took the tension off that belt. But if there's tension on that belt, I can't get it to go into reverse. And even if it's in reverse, I can't get it to go back into forward. So basically what I do to take the tension off, I just got a stick here, and I just put a little bit of pressure, between the secondary clutch and the primary, just to pry that sheave all the way out. But as soon as I start the machine and engage the clutch, right, this guy moves that way, and then it doesn't retract. So then I run into the same problems with reverse. I just noticed it this year. There's a lot of miles on this machine. I think when I bought it, there was 11,500. I've got almost 13,000 on it right now. So it's time for that clutch to be rebuilt anyway. I did get the tool. I've got a tool to extract this clutch. I know there's some pretty neat ways to do it without the proper tool, but I figured I'd buy that tool. So anyway, I'm gonna pull that primary clutch off and see what happens. Another thing I should mention regarding my issues with reverse are the gears inside there. There's a guy, Bob of All Trades, that's the name of his YouTube channel. He does a really nice job of pulling out the forward gear and reverse gear and showing you what happens. There's some burrs that get built up over time on the spline that those gears go back and forth on, and that might be another issue that prevents me from putting it into reverse. But with that said, when I do take the tension off of my drive belt, then it seems like I'm able to put it into reverse and forward every time. Okay, I'll start the machine up. I got my parking brake set, and you'll see that when I release the parking brake, it won't want to propel the machine forward. But then once I engage the clutch, you'll see that the machine wants to keep going even though I've let off on the throttle. Okay, I'll take the parking brake off. Notice it doesn't want to go forward. I'll pop it into reverse. That works. fine. Okay, now I'll engage the clutch. Okay, going forward here. I'm using my brake to stop. Now when I let off on the brake, notice that it wants to go forward. I'll set the brake here. I'll notice, try to go into reverse, and it doesn't want to go. I don't want to wreck the linkage there. So those are my issues. I took the primary clutch bolt off with a breaker bar and a 21mm 12-point socket. Came off pretty easy. Then I put some WD-40 down the hole. I flipped the machine up on its side. I'm showing that's the extractor tool that I bought to take the clutch off. Hit it a couple of times with the impact, and yeah, it came off fairly easily. It did make a fairly loud bang when it finally popped off, so be aware of that. And there's the clutch. I'm going to take that up and rebuild it. Okay, this is the primary clutch. You can see these rollers in here. They're basically split in half. This roller should be riding, I think, on this side of this metal ridge, and I think this smaller one should be riding on that side of this metal ridge. You can see that both of them are on this side. I don't know if that's an issue or not. And I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but this roller has a flat spot worn into it. They are both movable. Now, on this one, this guy moves freely, but there again, there's some damage right there. That back one is jammed in there. You can't move it at all. I don't know if you're supposed to be able to move it right now or not. Let's see what the last one looks like here. There again, both pieces are on that side of this metal ridge. I think, that one's supposed to be on that side. There again, those guys are jammed in there. You can't move those freely. So I could see where that might be contributing to my issue of this sheave not retracting all the way back. Might be getting jammed up on these rollers. It still could be a spring problem, so we'll dig into it a little further. Well, I took this apart as far as I can go. I was thinking that it was going to be the spring, but this spring seems to be okay. So I really think it was these torque rollers that were causing that sheave to bind up. You can see, like, even on this one, it's worn. There's a flat spot on there. So these rollers are in pretty tough shape. Let's see, on the Spider, I applied a little bit of heat on each one of these to get these bolts out, because there's a little bit of Loctite on there. That heat really softens up that Loctite and they come off pretty easy. The toughest part of this whole thing was getting these torque rollers out. I didn't really find too many videos on this online, so I was kind of flying blind. Basically, for these little spring pins, I did see one video where a guy was, he took like a drill chuck and would chuck the end of this into the drill, and I tried that. I didn't have much success with that, so what I ended up doing is just taking my vice grips, clamping onto the very end of this, and then probably shouldn't do this, but I used this rubber mallet to, once I was clamped on with my vice grips, I used the rubber mallet to hit the body of this. to take those pins out. I applied heat, you know, to this part and that part to try to loosen up those pins. I don't know if it helped or not, but and then the other thing that was really difficult was these pins. You know, it slides in and out nice on this side. On that side, it's really tight, and I had a tough time getting these out. What I did was there's a flat spot on each side of this, so I just used my crescent wrench and worked that back and forth. These were really tight in there, and I put some WD-40 and even heated up both of these pieces. And then I have this tool that's threaded on the end there that I use to drive out all these other pins, and that thing threads into this pin as well. You can see that this tool is kind of mangled right now because what I did is I ended up threading it in there and then put my vice grips on, you know, locked them on this end, and then just used a hammer to you know, to tap those out. Yeah, it took quite a bit of hammering to get those out. But yeah, that was the hardest part of this whole thing, is getting these torque rollers out. So now I'll have to wait to get my new parts in. So we'll let you know how it turns out. Okay, I got my new parts in, and one thing that I noticed right away, this is one of the new rollers. There's not much play with the new roller on that shaft, and all these old rollers, there's a significant amount of play. So that could have been the issue. Other thing I know, I did get a new spring, and it does seem like this new spring is quite a bit stiffer than the old spring. That could potentially be an issue. I got everything back together. The primary clutch is working real well. It's a lot smoother than it used to be. It's no longer trying to grab the belt when I'm at idle. And I'm also able to put the machine into reverse. I put almost 200 miles on it, and yeah, so far everything seems to be working pretty good. I'm gonna wait until this season is over, and then I'll rebuild that secondary clutch as well. I'm sure the rollers in there are bad by now as well.